What's the most WTF thing you've seen go down in front of you? There's this older woman who goes to the same gym as I do, probably early 60s with bright blue pigtails. The only thing she does at the gym is stand in the middle of the weight room eating a papaya like a chipmunk every single day. This has been going on for years. Driving home from work one night on the freeway, I look out my window to see a yellow motorcycle zip past me, on its side trailing sparks. The driver had fallen off and was rolling past my car. As I was watching him thinking, "Oh shit, he fell off. I hope he's okay," a black four-door sedan rolls right over top of the guy. And that was the first time I ever had to call 911. Did he live? He was alive when me and another guy got out and ran over to him. He was screaming really awful. I don't know if he lived or not. He got quiet after a few minutes and I left after the ambulance took him, and I talked to the cops but never found out whether he lived. My friend nearly shot me in the face when I was 15. I showed him my brother's SIG 9mm with hollow point bullets, then took the clip out and handed it to my friend. He proceeded to point blank aim the gun at me and pulled the trigger. One in the chamber, literally put a small cut in the shoulder of my shirt. WTF brother, why is one in the chamber? WTF friend, it's a gun, don't point and shoot unless you plan to kill. WTF myself, not checking the chamber, you know your brother is an idiot. What the fuck is it with people pointing guns at each other? Okay, I have my own story time of me doing this. When I was 9, my mom, little sister, and I were staying in my grandparents' house while my dad was out to sea. He was Navy. We were bored out of our minds. The place was in the sticks of Puerto Rico. Our neighbors were cows and our Spanish sucked. So, we had to entertain ourselves. One day, my sister and I were in my grandparents' bedroom. My sister was jumping on the bed. I was chest deep in their closet looking for potential toys when I found what I thought was a toy gun. Big, silver and heavy. Very cool looking. My sister, still jumping, starts yelling, "Shoot me! Shoot me!" I hold up the gun and take aim when an overwhelming feeling came over me to put the gun away. Just like someone screaming in my head to put it back and leave. I had never felt that before and couldn't ignore it. I put the gun back and told my sister, "Let's go outside and play." We left. A few weeks later I learned that the gun was real and loaded. Scared me so much that I almost killed my sister that I had nightmares for months after that. Of me shooting her. Of her being bloody and dead on my grandparents' bed. Ever since then I have trusted my gut. It has yet to let me down. A few months ago I was driving on the motorway and a car pulled over onto the hard shoulder ahead of me. The passengers jumped out and literally a few seconds later it just exploded. Luckily the passengers were just far away enough not to be harmed. My life is pretty mundane, but here goes nothing. When I was in middle school my family still had the big old box TV. In fact, its stand was an even bigger broken TV that was built into a wood frame and swiveled. So one day I had to open soda on top of the working top TV and accidentally moved the swivel, thus knocking the soda off. It did a full flip and landed right side up, not a drop spilled. I proceeded to run outside and scream like a maniac. Probably the highlight of my life. 2 heavily pregnant women fighting, like seriously fighting. I'm talking fists, kicks, scratching, hair pulling. Everybody wanted to break it up, but nobody wanted to get in the middle of it. Maybe the babies inside of them were enemies in the past life and decided to continue their battle using their new mothers. I was with a friend, passing by a bar terrace, when one guy stepped in front of us, dropped down to his knee, and proposed to me. He actually had an engagement ring and held it out. His friends kinda gathered around and cheered on. I just laughed and walked around him. My husband and I were in a mall in Bethesda, Maryland when we passed a Tyson chicken kiosk where Mary Lou Retton was demonstrating how awesome Tyson chicken is. We watched for a moment and then walked on toward the mall exit. A short way down the mall we see a young woman escorting a person in a chicken costume toward the kiosk. The chicken appears to be splattered with blood-red paint, and they are carrying a bucket. They pass us and we stop. "Did you just see? Was that a chicken?" Not wanting to miss what was sure to be a spectacle, we turned around and followed the chick and her chicken friend to the Tyson chicken stage. The chicken costume man runs toward the stage and tosses red liquid at Mary Lou Retton, who despite her Olympian status is unable to avoid it entirely. Security guards immediately rush the chicken and grab him, while the woman screams about how Tyson murders chickens. As security drags the couple away, we hear the young woman shouting, "Stop choking the chicken! Stop choking the chicken!" Still can't believe that happened. I once saw a woman shoot herself in the stomach at a public range. Rather, I saw the blood trail, because after this woman shot herself, she calmly packed up, got in her car, and drove the fuck away. All while bleeding out of her stomach, and without anybody noticing. We had closed up the restaurant for the night, and were cleaning up. 2 women began knocking on the doors, asking us to let them in. They looked pretty distressed, so we let them in. They had been attacked on the street. We sat them down and rang the guard eye. It was then we noticed the blood. One of the women had multiple puncture wounds in her back. She didn't even realize. They just felt the blow and assumed it was just punches, but whoever attacked them had stabbed them with a screwdriver or something. They were pretty upset, but were remarkably calm considering they were full of holes. Saw an ambulance hit a person riding a motorcycle. Don't know if that made it lucky or unlucky for the motorcyclist. When I was 12, my whole street was running garage sales on a Saturday morning. Towards one end, there were 2 sales next to each other, and one across the street. Everyone was out and about, including myself. I was surveying my spending options when out flies a deer from between 2 houses, darts across the street, and jumps right through the family room window of the house on the corner lot, shattered glass and all. From within the house I could see the deer bucking wildly and splattering blood all over white painted walls. The father commando rushes in, and after 17 seconds of chaos, yelling and screaming, the deer struggles back out of the windows and limps away, bleeding a trail behind it. Commando dad slowly comes back out the front door carrying his 6-year-old girl. She's pale white from shock, and has her father's neck in a vice grip. She was the one screaming. The deer was later found dead 4 blocks away. Something similar happened to my aunt's friend. Deer busted in through the front window, then freaked out, spraying blood and breaking everything in the home, and then dying in a bedroom. The family had been on vacation, and didn't get back till a few days later. Insurance wouldn't pay because they said they weren't covered for mammal damage. One day at college during the spring semester, birds started falling out of the trees. Most couldn't fly, some were dead, others unconscious and kind of twitchy. Really freaked everyone out. Biology department investigates. They determined that a series of flash freezes kickstarted the fermentation process of the new spring berries on the trees, and the birds were getting shit-housed. Growing up, I worked on a passenger ferry to a town beach. One day we were on a layover between boats, sitting on the dock, eating lunch. It's quiet, there are ducks swimming by, really nice sunny day. All of a sudden, a swan swoops in from God knows where and literally lands on top of one of the ducks, forcing it under the water. The swan is literally sitting on this duck as it struggles to get free. After a while the struggling stops, and the duck the swan landed on does not come back up to the surface. Just a few days ago, dolphins in the river. I thought I went crazy, but then I saw them 5 more times over the next 30 minutes. I am still searching in the web whether it is possible. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.